Because of their unbelief. Look at your neighbor tonight and say, why is it you won't let God do in your life what he wants to do? Could it be because of your unbelief? Could it be that you won't believe it until you see it? So therefore, God is handicapped in the household of faith because folks won't believe it until they see it. And even when they see it, Brother Osteen used to tell a story when he taught on faith. He used to say that if a dead man came walking down the aisle covered in dirt from the cemetery and had a piece of the tombstone still attached to him, there's at least he used to say several thousand of you in here who would believe he wasn't really dead. You would believe, even though you knew he was in the cemetery, even though you've been to the grave site, you would believe that he was an imitator and we just put dirt on him, because you won't believe nothing even when you see it. Even when you see it, you won't believe nothing. Even when God zeroes in and shows up right in the middle of your situation, you act like that really wasn't God. So therefore, you handicap Jesus because of your unbelief. You handicap Jesus. So see, that really proved my point, that we control the power that God manifests in our midst by either believing or not believing. You, to some degree, can control what happens in a service. Now, I'm to the point now where I'm just going to override you. I don't care. Well, if I see God want to move, I'm just going to jump up and let him move. I know we didn't do Psalm 91. If you don't know it by now, if it's not a banner over you by now, us not saying that tonight is not going to do anything. I know if we didn't say if it can happen anywhere, it can happen here. But we say that every service, and you still don't believe nothing going to happen. If it can happen to anyone, it can happen to me. But you'll watch it happen to everybody else and then be offended because it didn't happen to you. You'll watch everybody ride down the road in your car and think it's a problem with everybody. She was hooking to get that car. That's how she got it. Now she got to be a hooker because she got a car. Lord, if you're going to hook, I hope you get more in the car. Jesus. You can take it out of context if you want, but if you're going to sin, you better get more in the car. Jesus. You're going to sell your soul, and all you're going to get is a car? There's something wrong with that picture. You better have 5 Bentleys and 3 houses and some land and a jet. Of course, you don't think like that because you don't know your worth. So you even in the sin, you sell yourself cheap. Ha! Even when it comes to sinning, you'll sell yourself cheap. And then turn around and say what God didn't do in your life. He marveled at their unbelief. He marveled at how much they had seen and yet still didn't believe. As I was studying this, the Lord said, that is the condition of the church right now. No matter what I do, they still don't believe me. No matter how many times I show up and work on their behalf, they still will not believe that I am God. They let somebody else be God in every circumstance in their life. He said, and I'm marveling at the unbelief that's in the pew. He said, I'm not marveling at what the world believes because they're confused. He said, I'm marveling when I walk up and down my own house and can't find faith. I can find folks that are religious and know the routine, but won't trust me to be God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. They know the routine. They know how to shout on cue, jump on cue, everything on cue, but they won't believe that I'm really God. And he said, just like the heathen, I'm backing them all up in the corner. Hallelujah. The devil don't have you backed in no corner. God got you backed in no corner. And you're not coming out until you surrender. Hallelujah. You're not coming out till you stop selling yourself cheap. You've been bought with a price. You're not your own. You belong to God. You belong to him. Nothing cheap about you. Nothing cheap about the blood. Nothing cheap about the cross. Nothing cheap about what he did to purchase my salvation. Nothing cheap about that. Nothing cheap about that. But yet I talk about it, but I don't really believe it. Turn to Psalm 78, verse 41. Hallelujah. If you're taking notes, write this down. We control the power that God manifests in our life. We control the power that God manifests in our life. If you really want to be personal, you need to say, I control the power that God manifests in my life. I control the power. It'll eliminate you blaming everybody. It'll eliminate you looking over here and looking over there. If God's not displaying any power in your life, look in the mirror. Look at where your heart is. Hallelujah.